Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to study about the rise of nationalism. In this, we are going to study about the topic: what did liberalism, nationalism stand for? What did liberal nationalism stand for? Like we have already studied in our previous classes about the Roshi, the utopian vision, about the national states, the La Party, the fatherland, or the citoyens, the citizens. We have studied about the nationalism, how did it spread in Europe. Then so it says in early 19th century, Europe were closely allied to the ideology of liberalism, because in the 18th century the French Revolution had took place, and from that time only the rise of nationalism was there. The term liberalism is derived from Latin roots, the Latin word liber, meaning free. That says the meaning is free. So liberalism stood for freedom for the individual and equality of all before the law. It emphasized the concept of government by consent. Liberalism means, freedom means that it would make a government which would be made by all the people. A constitution and representative government through parliament. Liberalism and liberal nationalism means the right to vote and to get elected was generated exclusively to property owning men. Means right from starting only it is seen that people who have more money, they have more power, they are elected in elections, they spend a lot of money to be elected. And in olden times also, those who were rich, they were being elected. Poor were not given rights to vote. Men without property and all women were excluded from political rights. Clear? Means people who had no money or did not have any property were not given rights to vote. Even women were not allowed to give vote. They were not allowed to take part in politics. Women and non-propertied men and women organized opposition movement demanding equal political rights. Those who were against the system, those who wanted rights in elections, they came together and opposed the aristocrats, those who were rich. The abolition of state imposed restriction on the movement of goods and capital. The merchants traveling in 1833, this is the year they were traveling in this year. At that time in 1833, from Hamburg to Nuremberg to sell his goods would have to pass through 11 customs barriers and pay a custom duty of about 5% at each one. So this increased the cost of the product. Every time he has to pay 5%. If the thing from one was costing say about 50 rupees, from Hamburg he would move to some say another station, B station, he had to pay 5% tax. Means if he had to sell that product in that city, he used to charge more money. From that station A, he went to station B. Again, he had to pay 5% tax. Now, what was his selling price as A, station A, 5% to be added to the cost of that product and sold at station B. So, in this way, the cost was continuously increasing. There were many problems. So they made a union, and the union abolished tariffs, that is the tax, the duty, barriers, and reduced the number of currency from over 30 to 2. Like as we know that each and every country has its own currency. Like India has rupees, Europe has francs, America has dollars. So even Germany, Hungary, Austria, Bolivia, all these countries, the European countries, had their own currency. So a person moving from one country to another country had to deal in their currency, which was not equal. So due to this liberalization, or to become one nation, they reduced the 30 different currencies to only 2 currencies. And lastly, it was known as euro. So a new conservation after 1815, like this was a time of Napoleon, and after the following, the defect of Napoleon in 1815, European government were driven by a spirit of conservatism. Like most conservatives, however, did not propose a return to the society of pre-revolutionary days. Modernization could in fact strengthen traditional institutions like the monarchy. A modern army, an efficient bureaucracy, a dynamic economy, the abolition of federalism and serfdom could strengthen the autocratic monarchies of Europe. That says in 1815, at time of this conservatism, the European powers, that is Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria, these four countries who had collectively defeated Napoleon. This war was fought at Vienna to draw a settlement for Europe. During this time, that Napoleon, he was from the Bourbon dynasty. So the Bourbon dynasty which had been deposed during the French Revolution was restored to power, and France lost the territories it had annexed under Napoleon. The German Confederation Empire, which was of 39 states, that has been set up by Napoleon, was left untouched. In the conservatives, the people were not connected. The other like Austria, Prussia, they made their own groups. Autocratic did not, those who were in power, those who had money, tolerate criticism and dissent, and sought to curb activities that questioned the legitimacy of autocratic government. Like people, when they joined together, so they started questioning why only aristocratic people, those who have money, can rule or run the country, make laws for the country,